This model system involves one main staff member with regular time committed to the coordination of this system. There must be a designated area or areas to store inventory items, and detailed records are vital for this system to succeed. With this strong vision of the ideal system, you can train other employees to coordinate their efforts to help you successfully manage inventory. With the importance plainly sewed in your mind, develop a picture of the ideal inventory management system. In the ideal system, an item is available just as it is needed. This is known as the just-in-time system. This means that you have inventory items stored at the practice, and when an item is used, it is replaced with new inventory. You don't want to tie up your money into inventory items any longer than necessary, but you never want to have to say no to a client's need for an item. Since most practice inventory systems are not ideal, your system must account for an imperfect world. This means you must identify which factors may detract from your efforts to reach the just-in-time ideal. A good system, however, will allow you to remain flexible and maintain order in your efforts to manage your inventory. There are several components of a successful inventory system. We'll first outline each component, then explore them in detail. To achieve your ideal system, you will be well served to incorporate some of the following components into your procedures. Have one person in charge that understands and regularly attends to the practice's inventory. Set up a centralized, organized, and controlled storage area for your main inventory. Keep accurate and useful records so proper information is available. You must closely monitor several key measures to watch your progress. And finally, you must develop and use a rational system for pricing. If these principles are followed, your hospital will be on track to successfully use inventory as a significant profit center in the practice. Successful inventory control cannot occur without the implementation of systems and strategies. Some successful inventory management systems use computer software. Such software systems connect inventory with invoicing. When a service or inventory item is assigned to a client's invoice, it reduces the appropriate inventory item or items by the correct amount. Computerized systems can be very useful, but if they are not kept current, the computer's inventory data will obviously be incorrect. Successful inventory control requires practice leadership. To successfully manage your inventory, it must be clear who is responsible for overseeing it. This responsibility may fall on the practice manager, although it does not have to. In some circumstances, this person may direct others to handle aspects of the inventory process, such as ordering food, unpacking shipments, or doing a physical inventory, but one person must make sure that each part is coordinated on a regular basis. This person should be well versed in veterinary medicine and clearly understand the needs of the hospital. In some hospitals, a head technician who is proficient with drug usages and pet care products may be utilized for this job. As mentioned earlier, it is important to have a backup person who knows the necessary steps to manage the inventory in case your inventory manager is unavailable. The inventory manager must be someone who is good with numbers and can provide regular attention to maintaining the inventory. Allotting 2 to 3 hours per week during a non-busy time should be sufficient to maintain the inventory of the hospital. This will, of course, depend on the size of the practice. Successful inventory control also requires identifying when a low quantity of a particular product or pharmaceutical arises. Communication between staff members is essential. This may occur through a handwritten list where staff members can communicate items that are needed. This list is sometimes called a want list or a wish list. Remind employees that it is always best to make a note on the wish list prior to running out of an item. The second method for identifying a need is through the computer database. If entries are kept accurate and consistent, many software programs will recognize low-quantity items. Reorder levels must be periodically re-evaluated to assure that proper levels of a particular item are being maintained. The final method is to perform a physical check of the supplies on hand. That means you must go through the various places where you store inventory and look for items that you have used completely, items with low levels, and expired items. From this physical check and any requests for new items, the inventory manager puts together the order list. He or she can then proceed with calling vendors and placing their orders. Usually at the same time, the inventory manager should also carry out the weekly order check. This is a review of previous orders to determine what items have already been ordered but not received or are on back order. Besides the weekly inventory check and processing a new order, it's important to have adequate time to receive the incoming orders. The shipments must be unpacked and checked against the order for accuracy, back orders, or damage. All correct items should be priced and placed in their proper storage location, and incorrectly shipped or damaged items should be packaged for return. Highlight back orders or items not received to make sure they are monitored as part of your weekly order check. Finally, make sure that the packing slip is properly marked so that all of the items can be correctly matched when the invoice arrives. Be sure to retain the packing slip in your records. On a quarterly or yearly basis, you must do a complete inventory check. This is a physical count of the items you have on hand. Some practices only perform these checks annually for accounting or tax purposes, but it is wise to do this more often to ensure that all items are accounted for and that no theft or loss has occurred. During this time, you will also look for items that have expired or are close to expiring. Tag these for prompt usage or return them to the vendor if allowed. To succeed at managing your inventory, you must have specified areas where you store your supplies. Without these areas, it's difficult to maintain an accurate assessment of inventory on hand. Most hospitals adopt two types of storage methods. Bulk storage, an area where bulk items or large quantities of an item are stored. Immediate storage, an area or areas which contain the inventory items that will likely be used. Depending on your hospital's size and available space, you may need to be creative to find a way to follow the principles of good storage. Some large hospitals will also have an intermediate storage area where 2 to 3 weeks of product are stored. Your hospital's size and space availability will determine the storage system needed. Once you have defined your storage areas, you must decide upon a method for organizing the items in the storage space. There are several common techniques used. You may decide to arrange items alphabetically or by drug classification. Realize that when the items are organized, it is easier to maintain a balanced inventory. Inventory will occasionally be assigned to various practitioners and may therefore be stored according to the doctor's individual usage trends. In other words, each veterinarian may have their own cabinet of commonly used drugs. If common drugs are stored in 2 or more locations, however, you will begin to lose your ability to minimize pharmaceutical inventory.